Ready to open the hood? UseTool for the tutorials.
And for car parts, the right idea is the Mr. Auto app. Easy, fast, and with better prices than on the website.
You will find the bulk shock absorbers used in the video exclusively on the Mr. Auto website and through the link in the description. Turn your engine off and pull up the handbrake. So that you can change the back shock absorbers on your car, you must lift the rear of the vehicle and remove the wheels. This will give you full access to the suspension system. Loosen the stud bolts on the rear wheels. Raise the front of the vehicle and put it in the two-axle stands. We strongly suggest watching the tutorial, raising your vehicle safely before carrying out this step. You will then be able to take off the wheels. Don't forget to slide them under the vehicle. You can now see the back shock absorbers on your car. As the components to be removed are very often seized up, don't hesitate to brush and to use penetrating oil to facilitate the operation. Use the jack to relieve the tension on the shock absorber's base bolt and make it easier to unscrew it. Using a 70mm spanner, unscrew the nut on the shock absorber base and remove it. Open the boot, then remove the boot mat to gain access to the upper shock absorber retaining screws. Remove the side carpet. Using a flathead screwdriver, remove the two rivets from the rear plastic boot cover. Open the two screw covers and unscrew them with a Phillips screwdriver. Remove the plastic covering. Using a Torx 50 spanner, remove the screw from the strap clamp plate. Remove the plate. Fold down the rear seat, then remove the plastic covering from the seat anchor point. Unbolt the trunk light and disconnect it with flat nose pliers. You can now remove the boot carpet. Remove the shock absorber head cover. Hold the shock absorber rod with a spanner and unscrew the bolt with a 16mm spanner. Remove the suspension strut support bearing. Now you can lower the jack and remove the shock absorber. Unscrew the both screws on the shock absorber base bracket with a ratchet and an E12 female Torx socket. Remove the bracket. Use a wire brush to clean the area around the bracket and the suspension strut support bearing. Fit the new bracket and install it in its place. Then screw it back on. Finish off the tightening with a torque wrench.
All parts used in this tutorial are supplied by our trusted partners. These partners also help us create as many video tutorials as possible. Check them out in the description below.
You will find the bulk parts and products used in the video on the Mr. Auto site and in the link in the description. Place the stop in the sleeve. Then install the upper shock absorber support. Then reassemble the individual components in the order shown in the video. Before installing the new shock absorbers, you'll need to prime them by pressing the shock absorber rod vertically so as to separate the gas and the hydraulic fluid. Then place the assembly on the damper rod. Take the shock absorber and press it into place, first in the lower bracket and then in the upper part. Using the jack, lift the suspension slightly so that you have full access to the shock head threads. Replace the upper strut support bearing and then the washer. Then screw the shock back on using the spanner and the 16mm socket. Finish off the tightening with a torque wrench. Replace the shock head cover. Retighten the lower nut using the ratchet and a 15mm socket. Finish off the tightening with a torque wrench. You can now repeat the operation on the other side. Reinstall the boot carpet. Reinstall the plastic seat attachment point. Reinstall the strap clamp plate and screw it back on. Reconnect the trunk light and reinstall it. Reinstall the rear boot plastic. Reinstall both rivets. Screw the two screws back in and refit the plastic covers. Reinstall the side carpet. Reinstall the boot mat. Then you will be able to put the wheels back on your vehicle, putting it back on the ground before properly fixing them in place. Operation completed.
Hi, it's Theo from UseTool. I hope this video has helped you a lot in your car maintenance. We would be super grateful if you could spread the word so that we can produce even more tutorials. Simply give us a like, a comment, and hit that subscribe button. It really helps us boost the channel and help the whole community. Thanks a lot and have a great one.